There was a man who shadowed my wife for 7 years, lingering in the background of our lives, even though she and I had been childhood sweethearts and were happily married. She once told me, "It's been 7 years, Mark, and I don't even know what his name is." I went away on a business trip for 2 weeks. While I was gone, she ended up in the hospital with severe stomach issues. I wrapped up my work early and caught the first flight back, rushing straight to the hospital. Just as I pushed open the door to her room, I heard my wife's voice. "Simon Vane, tonight I really want to drink that beef rib soup you make." Simon Vane. That was the man's name. Simon Vane. I had heard that name mentioned more frequently than my own wife's name in the past decade. 7 years ago, people started casually dropping his name to me. "Mark, there's a guy chasing after your girlfriend. His name is Simon Vane." "Mark, Simon Vane went on the company retreat, too." Simon Vane gave Elena a cake, but don't worry, she didn't take it. "What kind of guy is he? You two are already married, and he's still hovering around Elena." I had heard it 100 times from friends and colleagues, but this was the first time I had ever heard those 2 words come out of Elena's mouth. She was likely in pain from the gastritis, her eyes closed and her brow furrowed in the hospital bed. So she called out that name subconsciously. But on my phone, I still had the voice note she had sent me just seconds ago. "Honey, when are you coming back? I feel terrible." At that moment, I stood right beside her, listening to her finish the sentence she hadn't said to me. "Tonight, I really want to drink that beef rib soup you make." There was too much information packed into that one sentence. Elena wasn't the type to trouble others. We grew up together and were practically still in the honeymoon phase, yet she had only just learned to voice her specific needs to me. Now she was clearly asking for soup made by another man. Last month at a gathering with the guys, a friend jokingly teased me. "Mark, Simon Vane is still hovering around your wife. You're not worried?" Back then, I answered decisively, "Not worried." They laughed and agreed. "True. You had top grades in school, started a business right after graduation, and now your company is taking off. You're a good-looking guy, too. Who would fall for Simon Vane?" My impression of him was stuck on a bowed head and the same cheap white dress shirt he always wore. We went to the same college. Several times, friends would excitedly point him out to me on campus. "Look, Mark, that's Simon Vane." When I turned to look, I could only ever see a retreating back. Until now, I had never seen his face clearly. One friend was curious enough to add him on social media. His feed was as boring as he was, just 2 or 3 generic inspirational quotes. Not a single selfie. The guys said a man like that wasn't worth my attention. But that was, after all, a man who had been there for a solid 7 years. That night, I asked Elena about it. "A man chases you for 7 years, and you don't feel anything?" She raised her hands in surrender. "I swear, honey, I don't even know his name." "Simon Vane." Perhaps because no one answered, Elena called out from the hospital bed again. I lowered my head and smiled grimly. "Well, now you know." Hearing my voice, she opened her eyes and tried to sit up, but the movement pulled at her stomach, and she fell back onto the pillows. She called my name anxiously. "Mark? What are you doing here?" I took a step forward and fixed the blanket she had messed up by trying to rise. "I finished work early, so I came back," she continued, trying to act normal. "Was it hard? Are you tired? When I get better, I'll bake that cake you love. You like mangoes, right? We can buy extra mangoes on the way home." She looked at me eagerly, considering everything about me with meticulous care. It seemed like nothing had changed, except for that sentence. "I want to drink that beef rib soup you make." That sentence was stuck in my throat like a fishbone. I couldn't spit it out, couldn't swallow it, and it throbbed with a dull, persistent pain. She sensed my mood, reached out to hold my hand, and started explaining. Mark, when my stomach flared up, Simon just happened to be nearby. The team has been busy these past couple of days, so he stayed at the hospital for an extra 2 or 3 days. I didn't dare think too deeply about that. Everyone is busy. But Simon isn't? An extra 2 or 3 days? How many days is that really? Enough for Elena to get comfortable enough to ask him for beef rib soup. Elena and I have been together for over a decade. We know how the other thinks. She admitted frankly, Simon said he adds herbal medicine to his soup. I was curious and wanted to try it. He said it's a family secret recipe. I paid for it. As she spoke, she struggled to lift her phone to show me the transaction history. $100. They hadn't even added each other as contacts. She just scanned a generic code to pay. I don't cook, but Elena often experiments in the kitchen. She can spend a whole day there for just one dish. I don't understand that behavior, but we've been together for over 10 years. Maybe it really was just as she said. Maybe she only got this familiar with Simon over a bowl of soup. Looking into her candid eyes, I chose to give her a chance. The next second, the hospital room door was pushed open. A man walked in holding a steaming paper cup of water. Director Graves followed him in. The man locked eyes with me. His eyes were very bright, like black grapes, but aside from that, he was incredibly plain. His skin was dark, he had a few angry red pimples on his cheeks, and his clothes hung on him, wrinkled and worn. Seeing me in the room, he immediately ducked his head, his voice dropping to a whisper. He walked over cautiously, placed the cup on the table, and said, "Here is hot water." His voice was so quiet, I barely caught what he said. Elena, lying on the bed, answered first. "Thank you." I spoke up. "Simon, thank you for taking care of Elena." As I spoke, I stood up and walked toward him. He kept his head down, shoulders trembling, afraid to look at me. "It was nothing. I'll go now." I interrupted him. "Let's go grab a coffee. My treat, as a thank you." He answered with a shaking voice. "No need." I wanted to say more, but Elena interrupted from behind me. "Mark, don't scare him. That's just his personality." After Elena spoke, he looked up at her briefly. Then he said, "If there's nothing else, Director, I'll go back to work." After he left, Elena spoke again. "Mark, I just think Simon is so pitiful. You don't know. He was born into a family that favored the eldest son. His family ignored him since he was little. He doesn't even have decent clothes. He's used to being bullied, so he doesn't dare speak up." I waited quietly for her to finish, then looked at her. "So? You feel sorry for him?" Elena was silenced by my question, momentarily unsure of what to say, but I knew her personality best. Her heart was as soft as putty. Even if it weren't Simon today, if it were anyone else with that backstory, she would feel sorry for them. The only difference was that Simon was in love with her. Before I could speak, she said, "Honey, I know what you're worried about. I haven't cared about him for 7 years, and it's the same now. If it were anyone else, I would do the same. I'm the boss, and with a background that sad, I absolutely don't have any other intentions. When I get discharged next week, I'll transfer him to another department, okay?" During the week Elena was in the hospital, I didn't see Simon once. After she was discharged, she did as she promised, and transferred Simon to a different department. Life seemed to return to normal. Elena was as gentle as ever, asking me what I wanted to eat every day and cooking after work. Until one day, Dave sent me a short video clip. In the video, Elena was walking in front. 2 steps behind her followed a man with his head down, wearing a wrinkled shirt. It was Simon. I immediately asked, "Where did you see this?" Dave sent me an address. By the time I rushed to the hospital, Elena had just texted me. Mark, a team member suddenly had low blood sugar. I brought him to the hospital to get checked out. She didn't lie. But she didn't say the team member was Simon. She just subconsciously concealed it. We had been together for so many years. She knew my parents divorced when I was young. The day my mother discovered my father's affair, my usually gentle mother smashed her phone and questioned my father. "This is what you call working overtime?" My school and his company were on the same road. Every time I went to his office to wait for him so we could go home together, he told me, "Go home first, kiddo. I'm working overtime." When I got home, I told my mom word for word, "Dad said he's working overtime." It was that day I learned that the 2 hours my father spent working overtime every day were spent with another woman. I was 13 that year. With red eyes, I asked Elena back then, "If even my dad can lie to me, what is real?" She looked at me and said, "Mark, you can always trust me." I hate deception, and I've told Elena that countless times. To me, withholding the truth is the same as lying, but she still chose to hide this fact. I didn't reply to her message. When I arrived at the hospital, Dave pulled me aside anxiously. "I saw the two of them and messaged you immediately, but I feel like nothing is going on between them. Your Elena is just too kind-hearted. Do you want to go warn Simon?" As he spoke, he led me to the door of the hospital room. I didn't go in. Elena's voice, half complaining and half caring, drifted through the door. "You must eat breakfast in the morning. Breakfast is too important. I saw you fall straight down. Luckily, it was flat ground. If it had been the stairs today, I couldn't have helped you. You have to eat before work from now on. Your health is your wealth." Dave, seeing I hadn't opened the door, whispered to persuade me. "Mark, look, what Elena is saying is actually very normal. It's nothing. Just telling him to be careful. Everyone thinks differently, and everyone defines cheating differently." Dave is easygoing. He and his girlfriend would consider this normal contact between friends because that's how they interact. But Elena and I are different. We both agreed that if you have a partner, you maintain distance from the opposite sex. Being alone with another person of the opposite sex is a violation. Elena's actions to me were blatantly telling Simon, "You can get close to me." I took a step back and said to Dave, "Let's go." He asked, "Leaving already?" I nodded and pulled him away. He chattered behind me. "Mark, you're too soft. If it were me, I'd rush in and punch Simon. Punch him, and then what? Elena would only feel more sorry for Simon." He was still venting on my behalf. "You're so successful. Is Elena blind? Couldn't she ask a colleague to send him? Did she have to bring him personally? When you get back, you have to give her a talking to. Make her sleep in the doghouse. She deserves it." I interrupted him as I pressed the elevator button. "I won't hit her. The one hurting is me. You really have too good of a temper. I've never seen you get mad." I walked into the elevator, watched the floor numbers drop, and said, "I'm planning to get a divorce." "Huh?" Dave heard me, but didn't process it for a moment. Once he reacted, he tried to persuade me repeatedly. "But Elena didn't cheat. She didn't kiss Simon, and she didn't sleep with him. It's just a small thing. Just talk it out with Elena." But is kissing and sleeping together the only way to cheat? Isn't hiding things you dare not let your partner know about also cheating? A small thing? Do people who cheat start by booking a hotel room immediately? Don't they all start with these small things? It had been 2 months since Elena spent that $100 on herbal soup, and she hadn't stepped into our kitchen since. I already gave her one chance. Do I have to give her a second? Do I have to wait until the facts are shoved in my face before I give up? I looked at Dave. "Keep this a secret for me." Until I was ready to go home, he was still trying to persuade me. I told him, "Don't try to change my mind. I can't accept a marriage where I have to turn a blind eye." Seeing my determination, he finally stopped talking. After I got in the car, he sent me a message. "Mark, urging you to talk to Elena was because I want you to be happy. But if you think you'll be happier apart, I won't stop you. Do what you need to do. I'll keep your secret." I pretended not to know about what happened that day and started transferring assets. I opened the company, but Elena holds some shares. We've been together so many years. There are cars, houses, all sorts of assets need to be liquidated. Since she hasn't physically cheated yet, why should I give her half my assets in a sudden divorce? I calculated and recalculated until Elena came home. She knocked on the study door. "Mark, still working? I need to tell you something." I looked at her and asked, "What is it?" She said, "Can the company set up a breakfast station?" She works at the branch office. Aside from the manager, no one knows about our relationship. Before I could speak, she explained, "It doesn't have to be expensive, just some bread and stuff. I noticed a lot of employees don't eat breakfast in the morning." Her expression didn't change. She spoke with deep sincerity. I took off my glasses and rubbed my forehead. She wanted to say more, but I interrupted her. "You decide." Hearing this, she closed the door and started contacting the relevant people. I could hear the excitement she couldn't suppress in her voice, but I just felt exhausted. The feeling of standing behind my mom all those years ago, hearing her expose what my dad was really doing, flooded my entire body again. "You tell Mark you're working overtime. Are you really working overtime?" That year, Elena told me, "Trust me." If my own father could lie to me, what about a woman with no blood relation? I was a fool. I made a detailed list of all assets under my name and sent the package to my lawyer, asking him for a legal asset transfer plan. He asked, "When do you need it?" "As soon as possible." But I didn't expect Simon to arrive at my house faster than the asset transfer. A scheduled meeting was canceled, so I came home early. It started pouring rain on the way. Elena texted me, "Mark, I'm bringing a colleague home to grab an umbrella." "Where are they?" I replied. "First floor utility room, next to the shoe cabinet." She replied, "Got it." Then she asked, "Will your meeting run late today?" I didn't reply. When I got home, Simon was sitting on the sofa. The colleague she mentioned was Simon. He was still wearing that wrinkled white shirt, now plastered to his body from the rain. Hearing the door open, he glanced at me timidly, then realized where he was sitting. He stammered an explanation. "Director Graves brought me here." I held back my temper. "Where is she?" He lowered his head again and said nothing. I shouted, "Elena, come out!" Only then did she come out of the kitchen, holding a steaming cup of ginger tea. She was clearly stunned to see me. "Why are you back?" I didn't speak. I sat directly opposite Simon and looked at this cowardly man. I call him cowardly, yet he dared to go home with a married woman and stalk my wife for 7 years. I didn't answer Elena. For the first time, I addressed the issue directly with him. "You like Elena?" He seemed surprised that I, the husband, would ask such a question. He froze, then started to tremble. Elena placed the ginger tea in front of him and looked at me. "Mark, don't scare him. I just felt sorry for him. I messaged you. I said I was bringing a colleague home." Concealing the truth again. Does she really take me for a fool? How long is she going to disgust me with these small things? "Elena." I looked at her and picked up the cup of ginger tea. I smashed it hard onto the floor. Crash. Shards scattered everywhere. I asked her, "Someone liking you, worshipping you. You enjoy it, don't you? But why didn't you enjoy it before?" "Because before you didn't dare. Now you think that because we're married, I can't leave you." She gritted her teeth. Mark, you're being a bully. Can't I have friends? Is talking to another man cheating now? Did you see us do anything? I tell you everything. Don't you think you're being unreasonable? At this moment, Simon finally stood up, keeping his head down and whispering an explanation. Don't fight. It's because of my bad health. I'm always troubling Director Graves. My lease is up, and I really didn't know where to go, plus the heavy rain. Please don't fight. I'll find someone to help me move. As he spoke, he headed for the door. Elena stopped him. With rain this heavy, how are you going to move now? I dialed a number right in front of them. I put it on speaker. The female voice on the other end was clear, echoing in the living room. Mr. Mark, what's up? Calling this late? I answered her. Moving. Bring a suitable truck over. It's raining so hard right now. I need to move now. I hung up. Elena and Simon stopped their back and forth. Elena sat beside me. Mark, I just saw a guy in a pitiful situation. I forgot I could call movers. Simon slowly paced over to me and whispered, Big brother, thank you. I ignored him and sat in the living room waiting for Chloe to arrive. She came quickly, pushing the door open directly. The rain had soaked her hair, but her eyes were bright as she looked at me. Mr. Mark, what are we moving? Elena stepped forward and told her, Hi, you're moving him. He'll give you the address in a second. But Chloe kept staring at me. She asked again, Mr. Mark, what are we moving? I stood up. Start with the bedroom. Take every single piece of my clothing. I pointed to the bedroom, and she went straight upstairs. When she came down carrying a pile of things, Elena finally realized something was wrong. Mark, what are you moving? I wasn't kind enough to help another man move. I called Chloe to move me. The house was sold. A new family was moving in next week. I hadn't told Elena. She didn't know. I didn't answer Elena. I just directed Chloe to move things, complaining she was too slow. So I called a few more people. Moving at night? Mark, you're cute. Coming immediately. At your door in 20 minutes. All women. Elena finally couldn't take it anymore and grabbed my wrist. Mark, what on earth are you doing? This is our home, and you're letting all these strange women in? I pulled my hand away and asked her, You know this is our home too? Weren't you the first one to allow a strange man in? She instantly went silent. I leaned in close. Elena, look how easy it is to accept others. Even married, I can get someone to help me pack with one phone call. Why did I never do this before? Because I have a sense of responsibility. But you tolerate others walking into our life. I'm telling you, Elena, I'm not in the wrong at all right now. This is all because of you. After I finished, Chloe spoke up. Mark, all packed. Where to? She joked flippantly. How about my place? I sent her an address. Deliver it here. She looked at the address. When did you buy a new place? You should have called me. I have a discount. It's not mine. Mom bought it. I had bought a new house in my mother's name. Elena had no idea. After everyone left, Elena finally asked me, Mark, why didn't you discuss this with me? I countered, Did you discuss it with me when you brought Simon home? Didn't I tell you? I laughed and continued. Did I tell you the day before yesterday that Mom was buying something? But you didn't tell me she was buying a house, right? And you didn't tell me the colleague was Simon. Elena was speechless. Rubbing her forehead, she asked, Mark, over such a small thing, how long are you going to drag this out? You don't like him, so I won't interact with him anymore. Just say so. But hadn't I said so? When she was hospitalized and Simon took care of her, didn't she promise never to interact with him again? Less than a month later, she took him to the hospital. Now she brings him straight home. What's the next step? What will she do next? Seeing I wasn't speaking, Elena stepped forward and took my hand. Mark, you're just overthinking. She looked pained, weighing her words carefully. Then she said what she shouldn't have. Not every man in the world is like your father. You have to trust me. Simon also chimed in to comfort me. Yeah, Mark. Director Graves told me about your family. You've been together so many years. Why don't you trust her? The shadow that trapped me for most of my life, she just told another man about it. I shook off her hand, raised my arm, and slapped her cleanly across the face. Slap! Her head snapped to the side. Simon rushed forward anxiously to check on her. I shook out my hand. Elena, let's get a divorce. You want to divorce Elena over such a tiny thing, Mark? Elena has been with you for so many years. What did she do wrong? She did nothing wrong. Mark, don't you think doing this is heartbreaking? The day after I moved out, Elena's mother messaged me incessantly. I simply transferred some money as compensation. She still wouldn't let it go, messaging, I'm booking a ticket to come see you two. We'll sit down and talk properly. I ignored her and started drafting the divorce agreement. The lawyer was efficient. He had it drafted within a day. Elena called in the evening. Mark, come to the hospital. Mom thought we were divorcing and fell in a panic, hurting her leg. I could hear her mother's voice on the other end. Why are you taking care of me? Get Mark here. You go to work. I hung up. I didn't head to the hospital until I had the divorce papers in hand. I didn't expect Simon to be there too. When I entered, Elena's mother acted like she didn't see me, praising Simon sentence after sentence. Young man, you made this soup yourself and brought it over? Elena told me about you. It hasn't been easy. You're diligent. Things will get better, believe me. I knocked on the door. The people inside acted as if they had just noticed me. Elena stood up, leaned in close, and whispered, Mom is here. Whatever problems we have, we'll solve later. Don't cause a scene in front of my mom. Elena's mother doesn't like me. I know that. She stayed with us for a month once. She loved making me cook, wash dishes, and do all the odd chores. When I called a cleaner, she would stop me, asking why I wasted money like that. Back then, Elena persuaded me. My mom just worries about money. The older generation is like that. But why should I do it? I called my own mother over. She said, Our Mark hasn't done chores since he was little. I've always done them. Let me do it. After hearing that, Elena's mother went home the next day and never visited again. Now she couldn't stop praising Simon. Family-oriented, good personality. She said she hurt her leg last night, and the young man had been busy taking care of her. Simon lowered his head. It was just a small thing. Seeing this, Elena whispered a reminder again. Mark, don't fight with my mom. Once she leaves, we can talk about everything. In front of Elena's mother, I had never argued with her. I always endured. But this time, I spoke up. Mom, you like Simon? Elena and I are divorcing. Simon can be your son-in-law. As I spoke, I pulled the divorce agreement out of my bag. I placed it gently on her hospital bed. Elena and I are discussing the divorce right now. Seeing the document next to her, she crossed her arms, looked at me sideways, and asked, Is there some misunderstanding? My Elena has been well-behaved since she was a child. I interrupted her. Can't we divorce without a misunderstanding? Elena asked me, Is it because of Simon? I won't marry him, and I don't like him. What exactly are you suspecting? I repeated myself. I'm not suspecting anything. I just want a divorce. Sign it sooner rather than later. I had delivered the item, so I planned to leave, but Elena's mother grabbed my hand and wouldn't let me go. Speak clearly. My Elena didn't provoke you, so why divorce? Oh, your company is big now, so you think you can just divorce whenever you want? What an ingrate. I shook off her hand and looked at the crowd gathering to watch the drama. The son-in-law in your heart isn't me anyway. Don't you like Simon? You want someone like him? So my divorcing fits your wish perfectly. Simon had been busy all night. Uninformed people really thought he was Elena's husband. Someone who enjoyed the spectacle chimed in, "Wait, that young man isn't your son-in-law? I asked your daughter yesterday, and she didn't deny it." Everyone was watching the show. Elena cared about her reputation and tugged at her mom. Say less. Her mother always listened to her, so she glared at me, pinning the blame on me. Elena leaned in again. "Mark, don't act out of spite. We've been together so long." I took a step back. "Sign it quickly." After leaving the hospital, I went to the branch office. Elena didn't want our marital relationship to affect me, so she voluntarily resigned from headquarters. She works at the branch now. I set up the job for her. Now that we're divorcing, why should she comfortably keep her job? The branch manager is a good friend of mine. She knows Elena and I are married, but no one else does. As soon as I walked into the company, she pulled me into her office. "Mark, I need to tell you something." Her face was grim, and finally she spoke. "Your Elena is acting strange." She took a deep breath and spilled everything. From her, I learned the details of how Elena and Simon got to know each other. Because the project deadline was approaching, Elena didn't go to the hospital when her stomach issues started. It was Simon who noticed her frowning while working and delivered lunchboxes to her desk for 3 meals a day. He did it for a week straight, urging Elena in front of everyone. "Team leader, have a sip. It's medicinal soup. Or else just pay me for making it. Consider it a chance for me to earn some extra cash." Elena transferred the money. Once there was a first time, there was a second and third. Everyone tacitly accepted that Elena paid for Simon's herbal soup. The day the project ended, the two of them left together. Only then did the manager notice something was off. She asked colleagues in the same group and found out the whole story. Also, didn't she suggest opening a breakfast station? The only people in the whole company who go there are her and Simon. They eat breakfast together constantly. After finishing, she asked, "What did you come here for today?" "I got carried away venting to you." I said, "To fire Elena." She realized immediately. "You knew? Firing her is good. Go home and have a good talk." She sighed in relief, turned around, and opened her computer to start the termination process. I answered casually, "We're getting a divorce. No need to save face. Handle it however it should be handled." She was shocked. "Just over this small thing?" Everyone seems shocked that I want a divorce over such a small thing. In their eyes, it seems if I just go back and talk to Elena, she'll change. But this small thing is enough to show her mindset. She used these small things to test the waters, step by step, betting I would forgive her. She just bet wrong. I can't tolerate these small things. I don't want to gamble on a woman's sincerity. I firmly believe that dragging this out will only lead to the step where she fights me for assets. Why wait until things are at their worst to figure out what to do? The moment she showed this bit of disloyalty for me meant immediate separation. I can seize the initiative now because I brought up divorce first. Elena received the termination notice that evening. It was a standard procedure. The company provided severance, so she had nothing to argue. She could only ask, me, "Do you really have to be this cruel?" I didn't speak. She continued, "Mark, you really are too cold. After marriage, you almost never went into the kitchen. You never cared about me." I interrupted her. "Elena, I sold the house. Move out immediately." She stopped accusing me, her voice filled with anger. "You really have no heart. We've been together." I hung up directly. The house she lived in was bought with money I saved bit by bit. I never told Elena how hard and tiring starting the business was. When my startup nearly failed in the beginning, Elena's mother called to mock me. Afraid of dragging Elena down, I even suggested breaking up. Back then, she said, "Don't give up, Mark. I love your ambition and courage." It was exhausting back then. Even when we didn't see each other for 2 weeks, she supported me, saying she loved my ambition and courage. But now that we're married and see each other every day, the ambition and courage she once loved have turned into cold and domineering in her eyes. I haven't changed. She's the one who changed. That night, the new realtor called me. "Are you selling the house or not? Isn't your family still living in it? The landlord wanted to view the house today but got kicked out." Elena didn't know about the sale. I said, "They aren't my family. Call the police." They took turns calling me. Elena's mother sent endless text messages, shifting from cursing to begging, and finally back to cursing. I blocked them all. Knock, knock. There was a knock at the door. I opened it. Chloe was standing outside my new place. She was holding a bouquet of flowers, dressed meticulously. Seeing me, she smiled. Her tone was as playful as ever. "Mr. Mark, care to grace me with a date?" She bowed slightly and held out her hand as she spoke. I was in a good mood, so I placed my hand lightly in hers. "Sure." I hadn't been on a date in a long time. Chloe took me drag racing. As the speed increased, the frustration in my heart was thrown off. At top speed, she asked me, "Mr. Mark, give me a chance after the divorce." I pretended not to hear. When the car stopped, she looked at me and asked again. "We'll see." She laughed instead. "Mr. Mark, so cool. Just like when you were in school." I thought she would leave after the rejection, but no, she seriously accompanied me shopping. While shopping, I was torn between 2 watches. She carefully offered a suggestion. "This one is classic, more steady. It won't be wrong for any occasion." I listened to her advice, but when I got home, she pulled the other watch out of the car. "This one is exquisite. It suits you too." I accepted the watch calmly, thanked her, and went home. By evening, her messages came one after another. "Where do you want to go tomorrow?" "I'm free tomorrow too. I know a resort. The hot springs there are very comfortable." She was too eager. Showing up uninvited was already rude, and now mentioning hot springs? I didn't want any further contact with her. I wouldn't rush into a relationship with another woman just because I divorced Elena. Every relationship of mine is precious. I won't be irresponsible to myself. I rejected her politely. "Working tomorrow?" She immediately followed up. "Day after tomorrow? Or when do you have time?" "We'll see." Then I transferred the money for both watches to her. She didn't accept it, but she understood my meaning and stopped talking. Elena refused to sign the divorce agreement, so I had to file a lawsuit. But Elena hadn't physically cheated, and she was unwilling to divorce. The lawyer told me the likelihood of a court-ordered divorce was slim. When getting married, a single piece of paper binds you for life easily, but divorcing is incredibly difficult. But I wasn't in a hurry. My assets had been legally transferred. What was on the divorce agreement to be divided was indeed the property Elena and I shared. If Elena wouldn't sign, because she looked down on that small amount of money, then let it drag on. I took a long leave from the company and planned to travel. On the day I left the office, I didn't expect to see Simon at the entrance. "Can we talk?" I didn't want to speak to him, but out of politeness, I asked, "What is it?" He kept his head down, his voice quiet, and mumbled, "Elena, I raised my volume." "Didn't anyone teach you to look at someone when you speak?" He reacted strongly to that, lifting his head to yell at me. "Yes, no one taught me. But what do people like you have to be proud of? If I were you, I wouldn't do any worse than you. Don't look down on people." I finally got angry. I stepped forward, used my height advantage, and grabbed his collar. "Are you sick? You came to talk to me. Which sentence looked down on you?" I just asked you to look at me. Do you have a persecution complex? What do you mean, people like me? I earned all of this bit by bit. I tightened my grip on his collar, twisted my wrist, and shoved him away. Get lost. Instead of wasting time finding me, you should figure out how to be with Elena. Didn't you chase her for 7 years? It's not even certain you can be with her. He choked back sobs behind me. I really couldn't understand why Elena would get entangled with a person like this. I traveled thoroughly for half a year. When I returned, just coming out of the airport, I saw Elena. She was holding a bouquet of flowers, conspicuous and eye-catching. Passers-by glanced at her. Seeing me, she rushed over to apologize. Mark, I'm sorry. I was confused. I know I was wrong now. Did she know she was wrong? No. She knew I was truly determined to leave her, and she started panicking because she wouldn't get a penny. I pushed her hand away and held up my phone. Someone is here to pick me up. It wasn't Chloe. It was another girl. Sophie. Coincidentally, she also brought a bouquet, but it was a bundle of understated lilies. The woman saw Elena holding roses nearby and explained graciously, "First time meeting. I thought since Mr. Mark likes lilies, sending lilies wouldn't be a mistake." A woman meeting me for the first time knew I liked lilies. Elena, who had been with me so long, insisted on holding roses to pick me up. How ironic. I took the flowers from Sophie's hand and got into the car. Dragging this out had no impact on my life, but it affected Elena greatly. After returning home, I found out she was now renting. Initially, she chose a high-end complex, but now she lives in the apartment complex Simon recommended to her. They live in the same complex. I continued to date different women. Elena would come to find me every so often to beg for reconciliation. Until the person I arranged to live near Elena's home captured photos of Elena and Simon. Solid evidence. I immediately sent it to the lawyer. Now the divorce could finally succeed. On the day of the hearing, Elena saw those photos and her face turned pale. She looked at the judge. He dates different women. He cheated first. The divorce wasn't final. How could I cheat? I had prepared photos of my dates with different women early on. Hearing her accusation, I submitted them immediately. I maintained a respectful distance from everyone. Elena cheated first. The evidence was irrefutable, and after dragging it out for so long, the marriage was finally dissolved. She chased me outside the court. A new woman was waiting for me there. Sophie saw me come out and asked gently, "Is it resolved?" Elena grabbed my hand and subconsciously demanded, "Who is she?" "Why?" I interrupted her. "I told you. One phone call, and a girl will come pick me up. I used to only have eyes for you. I was the fool." Elena's epilogue. At first, I just thought Mark was being a bit unreasonable. I came up with a proposal. After my superior rejected it, I took it to him. That was the first time I put something I made in front of him, but he rejected it without even looking. I still remember his words. If they rejected it, it means your ability isn't there. I'm not looking at it. But I'm his wife. We've been together so many years. Is there no affection at all? I didn't plan on cheating. I have boundaries. Simon and I did nothing. I didn't expect him to divorce me over just this level of interaction. At first, I thought he was joking. Until he moved, and the divorce agreement was placed in my hand, I still thought he was joking. We've been together so many years. Is it worth it over such a small thing? Until he went traveling and I couldn't find him at all. The day my lease was up, I got a friend to contact him. As soon as I spoke, he blocked my friend's number along with mine. I knew then he really wanted a divorce. That was the first time I was kicked out by a landlord. Luckily, there was Simon. He helped me with everything, and finally I moved into his complex. It was the first time I lived in such a bad place. No hot water, living on the 7th floor with no elevator. But the only advantage here was that it was cheap. My parents had gotten used to spending freely over the years. Knowing Mark wanted to divorce me, they called once a day to urge me to win him back. Simon heard the calls, too. He lowered his head and said, "Mark just has a bad temper. You apologize, bow your head, and this thing will pass." But why do I always have to apologize and bow my head? Why do I always have to tolerate him? Why? I didn't have a job. I really couldn't stand living in the complex Simon recommended. No matter how unwilling I was, I had to salvage things with Mark. I bought a bouquet of roses to pick him up, but he got into someone else's car without looking back. Why do I have to be so humble? Simon has never been this arrogant with me. Why does Mark never look me in the eye? Mark kept dating different women. He cheated first. That day it rained. Simon was waiting for me downstairs. When we went home, half his shoulder was soaked from the rain. He huddled, shrinking closer to me. If Mark wanted to drag this out, then let's drag it out. If he can cheat, why can't I? I brought Simon home. Just a week later, I was called to court. Mark took out those photos. How did he get those? But he cheated first. He glanced sideways at me. I didn't cheat. Did he still like me? I stopped him. He shook off my hand and dropped one last sentence. Idiot. Cheating within marriage means you don't get a penny. Then he turned and got into someone else's car.